Welcome, everybody, yet another episode of the Wrestling vs. the World podcast. This is a bit of a bonus episode because just recently, within the last week, we've finally gone through the 2021 WWE Draft. Went over through a couple of nights, and I'm going to discuss these results. Some of them I'll be able to get more in-depth into, depending on the superstars, some I won't. But this is a bit of an odd draft. So, it almost feels a bit like the draft lottery that we saw in 2005, where all of a sudden it's like taking more than one night, but some of these do and don't make sense. So I'm going to cover the SmackDown ones and then the supplemental picks for SmackDown, and then go over to the Raw ones because I'm recording this morning after Raw. So on SmackDown, the first night of the draft, immediately they draft Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, saying, we're keeping him on SmackDown. Now this is a weird recurring thing. It's like, with the draft, you choose who's going to be taken to a new show. Never in any other draft, before this, at least to my knowledge, have you ever had announcements saying, oh yeah, this person is staying on this show. Like, the point of the draft is to announce that, hey, they're going from one show to the next. Like, we didn't see in 2007 saying, oh yeah, John Cena, he's on Raw, but he's also staying here on Raw. Like, I can understand if you're redoing the brand split and everything. I mean, kind of like, or even starting a new one, kind of like what we saw in 2002, making sure everybody's known to be what show they're on and everything. But what's the point of doing this, saying, oh yeah, they're on SmackDown, they're staying on SmackDown? Just announce who's changing brands. So it means Universal Championship staying on SmackDown. Big E, who's technically still part of SmackDown, despite being WWE Champion now, is official. He's now been drafted over to Raw. Of course, that was kind of expected. I mean, he was going to end up on Raw no matter what. WWE Champion, both shows have to have their own World Champion. Now, this next one does not make sense. Why this is happening, and if they do what they did last year, good Lord Almighty, save us all. Charlotte Flair, the reigning, defending Raw Women's Champion, has been drafted to SmackDown while still being champion. Hopefully, I'm gonna cover this more when we get into what happened on Raw. But hopefully we don't see a repeat of what happened with the tag titles last year. Bianca Belair has been drafted from SmackDown over to Raw. I mean, I don't really care all that much. Drew McIntyre being drafted to Raw to SmackDown, I think that's a better decision now. He can kind of get different wrestlers to go against instead of just constantly fighting against Bobby Lashley or the Mid-Carter, so he could be built to try to dethrone Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at some point, who knows. Now, another case of announcement, hey, they're on this brand and they're staying here. RK Bro, Raw Tag Team Champions, are on Raw, they're staying on Raw, don't care. But now we kind of see a bit of a repeat from what happened last year, where the trio of the New Day is split up, because it seemed like they were being reformed, like reconnected and everything when Big E became WWE Champion. But now, just like last year, they're split apart again, as Kofi and Xavier are now going over to SmackDown, and Big E's staying on Raw. Well, it was a complete opposite last year, where New Day went to Raw and Big E stayed on SmackDown. So it's kind of like when Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were teaming up with like Finn Balor or AJ Styles, and all of a sudden, shortly after they're reunited, oh, they're split apart. So it's like, why put them together? Edge has been drafted over from SmackDown to Raw. I mean, I can kind of get into it again, get some different talent to go through. Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss are staying on SmackDown. I honestly have no clue who Madcap Moss is, maybe because I've been away from watching main roster stuff and just anything WWE. I mean, I heard the name Riddick Moss when I did a quick bit of research, but it doesn't ring a bell. Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley are staying on Raw. Not really relevant, because when you're women's tag champions, in this case, this is dual branded, so you can appear on both shows, but I guess this is kind of reinforces that, hey, if they lose the tag titles, this is the show they're going to be on, so kind of a reinforcement. Now, a group I have no idea who they are about because I don't pay attention to NXT, the Hit Row, who is Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashante Theodonis, Top Dollar, and B-Fab. I have no clue who these names are. It sounds like some weird rap group. Going from NXT to SmackDown, and apparently Isaiah Swerve Scott is the NXT North American Champion, so who knows what's going to happen with the championship going forward. Keith Bearcat Lee staying on Raw, again, whatever. Naomi staying on SmackDown, whatever. The Mysterios, Dominic, and Ray are going over to Raw. Now, I'm wondering, I saw a clip of this where Sami Zayn's kind of getting into the head of Dominic to kind of poison him about his relationship with his father. Are they going to do anything further at some point regarding this, or are they just going to completely drop this whole thing about possibly turning Dominic heel? But who's to say? Jeff Hardy's now been officially drafted to SmackDown. I'm sure a lot of people are happy about that, giving him a chance to reinvent himself, and then maybe people will stop saying, he's being buried, 24/7 championship, and all that nonsense. Austin Theory's going from NXT to Raw. I honestly don't know anything about Austin Theory. The only thing I remember was that he teamed with Angel Garza at WrestleMania 36 against Street Profits because Andrade got injured. That's literally all I know about Austin Theory. So that was the televised picks on Talking Smack afterwards. And WWE social media accounts, we had the supplemental picks. Akira Tozawa is staying on Raw. I honestly forgot he was even still employed with the company. Aaliyah is coming up from NXT to SmackDown. Honestly, don't know anything about her. Alpha Academy being Chad Gable and Otis going from SmackDown to Raw. Whatever. Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. The name Commander Aziz sounds familiar, but now they're going from SmackDown over to Raw, so who knows what's going on there. Doudrop and Drake Maverick are staying on Raw. I honestly thought Drake Maverick was still part of NXT. I did not know he was over on Raw. Maybe that's because I've been less paying attention to WWE as of late. But I thought Drake Maverick was still on NXT because of that whole storyline saying he got fired, he's coming back in the contract, so I did not know that was going on. Drew Gulak is going over from Raw to SmackDown. Again, I didn't even know he was still around either. Again, I don't pay attention to cruiserweights. John Morrison staying on Raw. Then Mace, Mansoor, and Mustafa Ali are going from Raw to SmackDown. I don't know why they're still going on with these names from Retribution. You would think they would have dropped that by now because the group is broken up. Mansoor, all I know is he has an undefeated streak. Mustafa Ali, whatever. Nia Jax, R-Truth, Reggie, who is a 24/7 champion, and T-Bar are all staying on Raw. Again, like I said with T-Bar with Mace, same thing. Nia Jax, whatever. I mean, I just don't care. R-Truth, whatever. Reggie, again, whatever. Tony Storm is staying on SmackDown. Alright, and Zelina Vega is going from SmackDown over to Raw. I'm seeing some notes even on here saying that their stables have been split up. Of course, the New Day, I just mentioned that. Austin Theory was drafted to Raw while his Way stablemates, Johnny Gargano, Dexter Lumis, Candice LeRae, and Indy Hartwell remain on NXT. And I know there was even stable. Then even on this one, seeing Mace and T-Bar are now split up. So, but again, hopefully they're going to drop their Retribution names and just establish their own identities. Because really, the whole Retribution thing just did not work. So now we're on tonight too, because of Raw, a lot of picks here. Becky Lynch, who's a SmackDown Women's Champion, is now all of a sudden jumping over to Raw. Hopefully this does not mean that they're going to do the same thing with the tag titles last year, because we saw this last year. Street Profits, who are the Raw Tag Team Champions, and New Day, who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, when they were both drafted the opposite shows, they just simply traded championships, and I guess, they counted as a new reign. Please don't do the same thing with Becky and Charlotte, because otherwise it means, Charlotte's technically starting another reign, so she's yet another champion. Please, no more. Please, if there is a God, please stop the madness. Please. The Usos, of course, are staying on SmackDown. That's understandable, because, of course, Jimmy's over there with his wife, so that was going to happen. Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, and MVP are staying on Raw. I guess that might mean same thing with Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, because they're the Hurt Business back together. Sasha Banks is staying on SmackDown, so I think I heard they were doing stuff where she was interfering stuff on Raw, but I guess who knows if she's going to go for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Both herself and Charlotte are heels. Seth Rollins coming over to Raw. Again, that's understandable to be with Becky. Maybe they're going to continue the feud with Edge. King Nakamura and Rick Boggs, with Nakamura being the Intercontinental Champion, is staying over on SmackDown, and Damian Priest, who's the United States Champion, is staying over on Raw, so that's understandable. Sheamus is going over to SmackDown. Alright, I guess. AJ Styles and Omos are staying on Raw, whatever. Shayna Baszler is now going over to SmackDown, so who knows what's going on there. Kevin Owens, who's been in the news lately saying his contract is not going to be lasting a whole lot longer, is going back over to Raw. Zia Lee, I don't know anything about her, but she's going from NXT up to SmackDown. Street Profits are changing brands once again, so now they're back over on Raw from SmackDown. And the Viking Raiders are switching places, so now they're going from Raw to SmackDown. I'm really indifferent about that. Finn Balor going to Raw. Please do not ask me about Finn Balor. I don't care about him, no matter what show he's on. I do not care at all. Raw, it's getting, Ricochet's going from Raw to SmackDown. Whatever. Karrion Kross is staying on Raw. I mean, that's kind of understandable. He's, hasn't been on Raw for that long. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo are going from Raw to SmackDown. I did not know they were even a tag team. I had to do research. I thought Angel Garza had suddenly turned face, but no, Humberto Carrillo turned heel. I mean, does he at least show personality now? Alexa Bliss, who was recently in the news about sinus surgery, is confirmed to stay on Raw. Cesaro staying on SmackDown. Carmella is going from SmackDown over to Raw. If Corey Graves is over on Raw, still doing commentary, that would be kind of understandable there. Ridge Holland, I have no clue who he is, going from NXT to SmackDown. Gable Steveson, who is one of the new signees with WWE, is going over to Raw. Hopefully they're going to train him fast. Who knows when his debut is going to be. Hopefully he succeeds. And Sami Zayn is now officially staying on SmackDown. So, like I just said, what are they going to do now with Dominic and Rey? Are they still going to maybe do a split? I mean, they can't do these segments anymore with Sami Zayn and Dominic and Rey and everything because now they're on separate brands. So, who knows what's going on there. And what I'm seeing on here, a couple notes saying that Steve will split up. Z leaves Draft to SmackDown where her Tian Shaw, stablemates Moa and Mei Ying are on NXT, so another stable is broken up. And Ridge Holland was teaming up with Pete Dunne, so they're split up, I guess. And now in the supplemental draft, let's see. According to this, Dana Brooke is staying on Raw. I honestly forgot she was still with the company because you never really see her anymore. The Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, are going from SmackDown to Raw. Why are they still a tag team? It seems like that's the only thing these two are doing, is just being a team together all the time. Do they not feel like doing something singles-wise? I don't get it. Hurt Business, so Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin are still confirmed to be now part of the Hurt Business, staying on Raw. Jason Ryder staying over on Raw. Whatever. Jinder Mahal and Shanky, it sounds like a prison name there, going from Raw to SmackDown. It's whatever. Liv Morgan is going from SmackDown over to Raw. Cool. Mia Yim is going from NXT to Raw. That's understandable to be alongside Keith Lee. The Miz is staying on Raw as well. Natalya and Shotzi Blackheart, I guess they're just calling her Shotzi, are staying on SmackDown. Tamina is now going over to Raw. So I guess that's once again, another instance of a tag team being split up. I feel like the statement I made in the episode of the podcast talking about the fact that the women's tag division and the tag titles need to be broken up already, it's becoming more and more apparent. Tegan Nox is going from SmackDown over to Raw, and Veer, well, honestly don't know who that is staying on Raw, but apparently he's, according to the notes below, he's part of a stable with Jinder Mahal and Shanky, so that's split off. And there are two tag teams again. It's listed here. Tegan Nox and Shotzi were a tag team. They're split up, and as well as Tamina and Natalya's mentioned. So, again, tag teams are being split up. What women's tag division do you have? But right now, there are some names that they got below there that have not been drafted yet for some reasons. Brock Lesnar, saying that he's not been drafted. He's technically a free agent, so it's his own choice what brand he's on. Asuka still technically has not been drafted yet, but she's still listed on Raw because of a hand injury. Bayley still out to a torn ACL, part of her 9-month recovery, so she has not been drafted yet. Elias, Eva Marie, Maurice are still on Raw, just not drafted yet. Lacey Evans is inactive right now, has not been drafted into maternity leave. Lucha House Party being Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado have not been drafted, still on Raw. And Shane Thorne, I honestly did not know he was there on the main roster, is on SmackDown but still not drafted. So, 2 have not been drafted due to injury, 1 due to maternity leave, Brock being on his own choice, and everybody else just has not been stated where they are going yet. So, maybe we'll find out within the week as time goes on saying what's going to happen. But you see a lot of these draft picks, a lot of them just been split up, champions changing brands. It's a little iffy. So, some of these are just, I don't know what to think about this draft. I mean, like I said, the thing with Becky, Charlotte, please do not make this an instance where they're just going to swap tiles and count them as new reigns. I don't want to see Charlotte as champion anymore. I'd rather freaking headbutt myself into a wall of spikes rather than seeing Charlotte constantly being champion over and over and over. Enough is enough, please. And a lot of these names I've never heard of, especially the NXT names, because again, I'm not familiar with NXT. I'm not really an avid watcher. Tag champions have not changed brands. Same thing with mid-card champions. But again, it's all the only other champion to change brands was for the main roster was Big E, but of course that was expected because WWE champion, both brands need their own individual world champions. So that is all of the listed champions and draft picks and everything, including supplemental. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below. Like I said, I don't know really what to think about this draft. Just feels like it's just there. So anyway, let me know what you all thought in the comment section below about this draft. Again, it's whatever. Just don't know what to think. So let me know guys in the comment section below if you all enjoyed. Remember, leave a like, comment, subscribe, bell turned on, all that if you're watching this on YouTube. And I'll catch you all later. Thanks for listening, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, and good day, everybody.